Yeah.
Ready?
Sure thing.
And we're live. Or we should be.
We are.
We should be. According to my calculations. We'll
find out.
We can double check.
We'll find out halfway through the podcast that we never actually started. No, it went live. I just got a notification.
Cool.
Oh,
All right, there we go.
I felt it internally. Do you guys
Goes.
feel it when that happens?
I feel
like
it externally because I don't have my cell phone on my ass. That's too easy. Bekah, you didn't deserve that right off the bat.
Well, welcome to listeners of Verbal Assault. This is your number one destination for all Elon Musk and space launch news.
And Trump news.
Dick and fart jokes.
Trump news. We can mix in Trump news. I am going to bitch about Trump today. Surprise.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't have an opportunity last week.
Oh.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
His
This
cat's
is
probably acting crazy again.
But this is what
I found
this is
something awesome.
a legitimate complaint. It's not just me being crazy and yelling about Hitler. So, but before we get to that, I want to hear about how everybody's doing. Let's start with Bekah.
Okay. Yeah, let's start with me.
You got any big changes coming up?
Yeah. Nothing, this normal day. What's up?
I'm going to my first wedding shower tomorrow. I think there's something I'm supposed to do on Sunday, and I can't. I think 10. Oh, that's right. I'm moving to Cocoa Beach.
Skeet.
That is the day that this podcast comes out. You could be listening to this while I pull up in my new driveway.
You ain't fitting that truck in that driveway.
A soon-to-be determined amount of steps away from the ocean.
Soon to be determined. I think everybody is a soon-to-be determined amount of steps away from the ocean.
Yeah.
Guys, I made a terrible error. I'll be back. Sorry.
Okay.
Goodbye, Brad.
Yeah, we're falling apart.
It's
no more than started.
It's just normal for Verbal Assault. That's just a normal thing.
That's how you know we're real.
Yeah. Patrick.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait, Bekah, were you done? Steve, I was going to say something.
When are you leaving? When you getting here?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? What's the first thing on the itinerary?
Oh, dude, there's a lot going on in my head right now. Originally the plan was to stop halfway-ish and stay the night so that we didn't do the whole drive in one day. And then 2 days away, we realized I have a cat. There's almost no hotels that are going to allow me to bring my cat in. So we have to do the whole drive. So we're going to be there a day sooner than we had originally planned.
Just lock the cat in the trunk of your car. It'll be fine.
No way. No way. It's so hot there.
Give it some Jello; it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I've heard that about cats.
puts them right to sleep.
I like the Jello, man. Well, Jello.
It works for kids too. You got to go into the store for a while. Just leave the kids in the car. Put those windows up. Lock them in tight and safe, and just give them some Jello. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Jello makes everything better.
Why do you think there's so much Jello in hospitals?
Right?
Duh. Okay. So first on the agenda, I have no fucking clue. I mean, it's going to be late. We're going to have been driving all day. So we're not going to want to unload the truck when we get there, but we're not going to have anything to sleep on if we don't. So
you got a cat?
That's true. Yeah,
Well,
we'll have to...
couldn't you... Well, you don't want to be moving furniture in the middle of the night because, your neighbors are very, very close to you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, just make sure you pack the mattresses last. The mattress, your bed, pack it last.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say is, do your mattress, make sure you could grab that first and then
couch.
You can grab your couch first. If you think you could just do that quickly and quietly, I don't think your neighbors would care too much,
Have you guys ever ridden in the back of a moving truck while going down the interstate for a long period of time on a couch?
I don't think so.
I have.
That sounds super fucking dangerous.
That's what we did when we were kids. When we moved once when we were kids.
Oh, really? Like that was like parents just jump in the back. It's fine.
Dad set up the couch and.
Did he strut down the couch, or was he just one speed bump away from being free? Free children.
you know, I mean, it was all enclosed. Nothing could fall on us. You know, it was
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, for some, no.
It's not like it was the back of a pickup.
That's kind of what I had in my head.
It's not the Beverly Hillbillies. I'm not
Oh,
not on
I
a
was just-
rocking chair on the roof.
I've
I was
seen
just saying stuff be flying around. Eventually, something will fall and hit you guys on the head.
They're just playing Foggy Mountain Breakdown the entire ride.
Mhm. Patrick, how you doing?
Oh, doing great. I got a special hat for Steve-O's part of the show.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
That's
I'm not
great
gonna put
news.
it on yet.
We
till
love
he
special
starts talking
hats
about
on
it.
this show.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Dave,
Yeah,
how you doing, Dave?
I'm all right. I don't have a special hat for Steve or anything.
Oh, yes, you do.
I do.
Look, you're wearing it.
Oh, okay. I suppose it's special.
It's your fisherman hat.
Not his special hat, though. He knows that.
It is special,
He just
I guess,
doesn't-
because it turned into a round desk. I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. No complaints, no worries.
Dave, why are you hiding the top half of your face like a cam girl?
Oh, I don't know.
Next, he's gonna be showing some cleavage.
because he doesn't want
Yeah.
See them titties, Dave.
He doesn't want
What
you
are
to
you
see
doing in
the backdrop back there.
After hours. Yeah.
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 He just
He's just been upstreaming just constantly.
Yeah,
I've
I've
been-
seen Dave's notifications popping, son.
Yeah, man.
Old man plays games. I'm like, fuck, dude, that's a good sell right there. Straight to the point.
Dave, what have you been playing? What are your top right now?
Let's see. I mean, I played some Rage. I know it's boring for most, but I mean, I hadn't played any of the DLCs from Destiny that I had spent my good hard money on, so I played that. And looks like we'll be playing some Ark. What else did I play? I don't know. Goofy shit, man.
Okay.
Goofy shit.
Goofy
Goofy
shit.
shit.
Well, I'm sold.
Yeah. I'm not as cool as you guys.
Are you
It's just normal stuff.
Are you talking about Primal Rage?
No.
The
Oh,
Fuck
that
yeah,
would be-
Primal Rage.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
hoping
we're
one of y'all
talking.
would at least know. what
Oh,
that
yeah.
was. Yeah.
Oh,
I used to play the
yeah.
fuck out of Primal Rage. I always forget about it though. I'm like, yeah, the only ones I ever played were Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. No, I played some Primal Rage.
It's not been brought back in any way.
Mm-mm.
Not
was
yet.
the
Just
one?
wait. Just
made
wait.
it? What was the developer? Do you know?
No, I don't remember.
I will look that up. That sounds like look up stuff because that's going to drive me crazy.
I rarely go on Facebook, but somebody had made a post with a
Atari.
picture of 3 Kennedys, and somebody says, "What band is this?" And everybody started coming up with these weird names. I didn't know if they were being, intentionally wrong or what.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand. I was like, I don't know. I'm not answering that way. And generally, I don't respond to any of those things. But it was so irritating that they come in Altman Brothers, and
Oh my god!
I think they had to be just
Presidents of the United States of America.
no, the dead Kennedys.
I know.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
being slightly
Oh,
right.
Yeah, just the same stuff. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, who are these guys? They look like so and so. I'm like, seriously, you don't know that those are the Kennedys? Crazy
dead now.
bastards. Yeah.
I do really like Presidents of the United States of America. I gotta pull out their album. It's about once every 6 months or so.
I like to hear Peaches.
That one was just overplayed for me. But I won't.
Yeah.
I won't skip it when it comes up on the album. But
And
Kitty,
Kitty
Kitty
is
is good.
awesome.
and then
Kitty's
there's
good.
some of the lesser known ones like the the song's called Body, but it's like Little Salamander. where
Yeah,
did you
and it's got a
go?"
good bass line. I like it, yeah. That was a good album. Did they do anything after that?
Well, they played Sundown in the City one year, and I saw them live.
Hey, me too. We didn't even know each
Yeah.
other. We were both there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
they played there, and I mean that's the only thing I know. But I know I assume they've put out other albums, and actually, you know what? If you look up that President's album on Apple Music and probably on Spotify and stuff too, it has the whole album. But then after that, there's like another 10 tracks of like B-sides and just like demo versions of songs and live versions of songs, and it's garbage.
Oh, this is real. I thought this was a gag.
What?
No.
Oh,
Presidents
okay.
of the United States of America?
You're
Never
a
heard of
gag,
him.
man. You don't remember Peaches.
Wow.
Oh, he knows the song.
He's got to. Moving to the country, gonna eat a
Eat a lot of
peaches.
peaches.
man.
Moving to
Sounds
the
familiar.
country. Gonna eat a lot of peaches.
Goddamn right, it sounds from. Get out of here.
Better get to researching that.
Dude, just look it up. The debut album, the
The
self-titled
music
album.
video
Yeah.
is fulfilling.
Yeah.
I'll do it off the show.
Patrick,
Yeah,
I
I'll
have
get flagged.
Yeah, not
Well,
right
No,
now.
look at the music
Yeah.
video for Peaches right now.
Patrick, I would believe if you told me that you have played and beat all the way through Rock Band. Would that be true?
No,
Really?
never played Rock Band.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah,
No, he plays Guitar Hero.
no, didn't even play that either.
Oh.
I did play DJ Hero. I did play that.
Oh, yeah, okay, you would.
Really?
yeah,
Really? That's
yeah, I
the
had
thing?
both games.
With
Yeah,
like
it
an
was the
actual
thing.
like turntable where you wiki.
Yeah, it had
Yeah,
a
you
turn
plug it
signal.
into your controller.
You had your crossfader. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it was pretty
I
cool.
mean,
got
you
the
guys
rest of
heard-
the song.
You guys heard Dave's beard. You know what he's working with.
Yeah,
The classic, the verbal
Yes.
assault classic, Dave's beard.
that's right.
I like the vest one too.
hmm
Yeah, everything that Patrick has contributed musically to this show has been spectacular.
Awesome.
Very Jan.
Glad the
Yeah.
guy enjoys it.
Yeah,
Jan-
I mean,
Jan Hammer is jealous.
he brought us the Todd remix after all.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Todd. Yep.
That classic gem, man. I would not skip that part in the little breaks.
never.
Yeah, we should bring those back. Yeah.
You
When-
should, bring
Yeah.
back the Todd one.
Or like
When we
throwing it
do
at the
our-
end or something.
Yeah.
When we do our closing stuff where we thank Haywood Banks and we tell people
Mhm.
to support us on Patreon, we should also thank our really hardworking producer and editor over there.
Aw,
All that
That's
stuff
so
he
sweet.
contributes.
Thought you were
Thank
gonna
you.
say
Thank you.
let's thank Saint Shonuff for all the gifts he has bestowed on us.
Oh, that's a given. That's in your daily
Yeah.
morning prayer.
yeah.
In memory
Do
of
I-
Shonuff.
Do I look like I'm in the Matrix construct
Yeah,
or something?
you really do. Like you're the only
All
thing
white.
that exists in your universe.
Yeah.
You haven't loaded anything in but your microphone. That's the only thing that's been loaded in so far. Is that what they do in the Matrix?
Is that
Oh, I locked it onto Dave's face, and I was rewarded.
no? What's that in Superman when they get trapped in that like
Oh, and that
glass?
prism thing.
Yeah, where is that? The negative zone or something? And
I
they're
forgot
like,
what that's
"Ah,"
called.
Yeah, it's
What
like
an
that.
edgy '90s name, but doesn't stand up to the late 2000s.
The negative zone.
The 10s, the Roaring 20s is almost here.
I have to be in the Matrix construct. It's the only place I can smoke a cigarette anymore.
That's true.
You better be careful.
Fuck a bunch of that shit.
Juicy
watching
steak, smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
Steve-O,
Yes.
Oh wait, I thought I didn't get to go. My little.
you didn't get to go. Well, then go, Brad.
All right, so I have taken. I guess I would. A vow of celibacy is not entirely correct, but a vow of a self-inflicted vow of my social life is over.
Oh,
Oh,
Well, you guys already know
That's
because
interesting. I've done the same thing. Go on.
I got Skyrim VR, and
Oh.
you can mod that bitch.
Oh, VR.
Ask Steve-O
okay.
if he saw me last night. No.
Yeah, no, I thought you were in bed. I thought for sure I'd hear a fuck or a shit at some point if you were in VR.
Well, I think you were asleep about 2 a.m. because I had taken. I was like, I got off work early, and I'm like, sweet. I got the rest of the night off. I'm gonna eat my food, eat this edible, and play Skyrim VR all night, and that was fun until my computer crashed because I had too many mods, or they weren't in the right order. And if you've ever modded Skyrim in general, you know those mod lists are important, and those contingencies that rely on that, they got to be in a particular order. And it's a learning curve, but you can learn it. Now I'm good at it because I had to wipe my Skyrim and everything and all my saves and shit and start fresh. Luckily, I still had a save in Whiterun, which is the first main town you get to, so I didn't have to do all the bullshit
Like
start stuff.
tutorial shit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't realize Skyrim's been out for 15 years already. 15
11?
fucking-
What? Yeah.
Sk-
11,
there-
11, 11 is when it came out.
The original one.
Yes.
Oh,
11, 11,
all right.
11.
Somebody
That's
told me 15
adorable.
years, and now I'm like, okay, this math does
It's
not.
one of the greatest games of all time, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's such a community, and since it's been out for so long, like everybody's been like, well, fuck all these textures because Bethesda was too goddamn lazy to do it then, or it's the future. But everything looks like it's 4K graphics, and it actually, if I were to say, hey, get a VR headset, and then show them Skyrim VR, somebody would fucking buy it. All the other games on VR, not as fun.
But what
as
if you
Skyrim.
told them that they have to do all the mods and shit to make it work the way you have it?
I mean, that would be a learning curve, but I could also negotiate that. And I'll come over, we'll have some drinks, and I'll fucking put them on your computer.
Brad, did you put the nudity mod on there?
I downloaded a mod that changed all the women presets. Dave, I see you shaking your head.
Pretty
You're still
Faces
blown up
mod.
on CBBE, which has been around forever, and turns out you can modify them bodies and modify all the armors. And I thought I had gone, too much. So everybody in my Skyrim has a big old booty. And some big titty.
As it
You
should
know.
be.
He's got the Kardashian mod.
I mean, you think about it, like back in the day, if you found an original EverQuest game like still sealed, you'll see some bitch on there that has like titties out to here. That's just the fantasy role playing game. And I was like, all right, they're fine. I downloaded companion mods where people just put their own companions in from other games and mod them and shit. God damn, those are some giant knockers swinging around. Lord have mercy, what a magical place this is.
Physics defying.
I thought I went. Oh yeah, no. I even went deep and did the skeletal mesh. So now all the women have bounce physics to it. It's like a dead or alive game in Skyrim. It's
You should make a tutorial on
No,
how to
more
get
The
did you
mods
on
are
there.
so cool, man. They really are.
They
It
are.
just
Yeah, it
adds
changes the
a whole
entire
new
fucking
thing
game.
to the game. Yeah, it
And
really
if you don't
does.
if you don't like something, like a mod I saw was when you pick a lock. If you've ever played Fallout or Skyrim, when you're picking the locks, one stick does one thing. Like one stick is turning the lock pick, the other stick's turning the actual tumbler. There's a mod where if your lockpick breaks, when you get your new lockpick, instead of being in the 12 o'clock position, it's at whatever position you were at. So if you just almost barely had it trying to pick an expert
nice.
lock, you can just like, I didn't lose my progress. I don't have to waste 20 locks on this because,
Well,
yeah,
there's also a mod that gives you unlimited lockpicks too. But
no.
Just be good at it.
So
Yeah, whatever happened to just
Right.
being good at stuff?
like
Be as good at it as I am.
I love the lockpicking. That was my favorite.
it is my favorite mini game.
Yeah, it
of
was
all
so
mini
much
games.
fun because you had to get it right, and then if it didn't, you'd go, "God damn it!"
No,
and when you
the-
had that
Yeah.
special skeleton key that never broke, that was so cool.
Did the Thieves Guild give you that?
Yeah. You got to turn it back in, but you don't have to right away.
Yeah, I didn't.
No, the one in Oblivion was a lot harder and much more satisfying, challenging.
With
once
the
you
three
did it.
little tumblers that had to drop in.
You had to time it just perfectly, push
Oh,
them up,
shit.
and then lock them in place.
Yeah, it was.
You
harder.
said Skyrim was about. I actually would put Oblivion above Skyrim, aside from the leveling up.
I never
and the
played
repairing.
Oblivion.
Everything had to be repaired constantly.
Yeah, that's annoying. Too.
Oh, that's annoying as fuck.
Nobody wants that. It's a
I'd
waste of
mod
time.
that out.
Mod it out. Mod
But-
in some bouncing breasts and mod out your weapons falling apart. Then
Oh,
you're
they're
ready.
there, and weapons don't fall apart in Skyrim because
Yeah,
it's,
no.
it's the wow.
Yeah,
we're talking
I
about
don't want no
that,
trouble.
man.
I don't want no trouble, Nathan. But yeah, all my mods have been either cosmetic, like overhaul the entire landscape. So now when you look down, like if you get on your knees and looked at the ground, it looks like the fucking ground.
Really?
Yeah. Steve-O, if I told you, hey, somebody made this VR chat game world and put you in Skyrim VR, your head would explode.
Yeah, you said that it looks like 4K. Like even in the headset, it looks that good.
Well, so I may have embellished a little bit because my PC will play VR games well, but I am scared to overload it because trying to troubleshoot once you put all the mods in, you get to run and it works great. You're like, okay, this is cool, and then you start looking at the mods again. You're like, okay, well, I can put a couple more on. And then if something fucks up, then you're stuck and you have to wipe everything and re-download because my crash happened at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was up till 7:30 this morning just because I was like, I gotta get this done so I can just fucking get on and go.
You're only allowed 5 gigs.
Oh, they changed it. I've got like 126 mods running right now.
Yeah, I would think on PC it's as much as you want.
They had a cap,
I thought
and
the
then they got
the
rid of
cab
it.
file was only allotted. The cab file was capped at 5 gigs. That to prevent it from poorly saving.
Right. Well, that's what happened to me last night. That's how I found out one of my mods was fucked up. Was my save got corrupted, and I just like, well, I'll just keep going. I'll just save it. Like, it's a regular save later, and just keep playing for another hour. Go to save. It's like, oh, this is not good. I could keep playing, but then when I turn it off, I'm going to lose all my shit. Anyway, like you were saying before, yeah, there are mods on there where you can break the game. I did change a lot of the weights because it's bullshit that a lockpick weighs 0.1 pounds. And I remember hearing an interview with Todd Howard, old Saint Todd Howard, not so much after Fallout 76, where the funniest complaint letter he ever got was somebody sent him a box of bobby pins and with a note that said, weigh these.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I used to love grabbing cabbage, man. That was my favorite thing. I'd grab cabbage everywhere I went. I think the most cabbage I ever had was 600 and something.
That is
oh my God.
And I would store them
weird.
in an apothecary satchel just because, for fuck's sake. It's just so funny. It was just tiny little bit. You could put how many ever things you wanted into it. So I had 600 cabbage in an apothecary satchel.
Was that a mod or was that actually?
No, it's just it's just the way the game is. I mean, there is no limit on the storage and those things. That's another reason why it was so shitty when Fallout 76 had caps on their storage containers.
Yeah, that's fucking shit. That's the first thing you look for in a Fallout or a Elder Scrolls game is a place to store your shit.
It's fucking shit, man.
Well, I downloaded a mod where anytime I get crafting items, it goes into this bag, and this bag weighs nothing. But when I go to somewhere to use the crafting items, all the shit comes back in my inventory, and I'm encumbered. But that's cool, because when I leave the crafting station, it all goes back in that bag, and I'm back to work.
You should check out the Magic Tower mod.
For Skyrim?
Yeah.
Did they make a special edition version of it?
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now.
All right. Well, while you do that.
Yeah. All right. That's
I'm sorry. It's called Leveler's Tower.
Leveler's Tower?
Leveler's Tower.
Why are you telling me the wrong name, man?
I want to hear about space.
Yeah, me too.
The final frontier.
It's this Matrix theme. That's why you're on that mood.
Do you guys know I'm roommates with a celebrity? You may know him as Space Coast Steve.
Yeah, I'm a groupie.
Choose your words.
Yeah.
A little better.
I don't think you know what
actually.
maybe you don't know what a groupie is.
I'm gonna go with fanboy. How's that?
That's what I meant.
There you go.
Obviously.
Roadie.
Are you wearing this? That's
No, roadies. No.
better than groupie.
Groupies don't have to be hoes, man. Like they can.
Roadies can
they
be groupies
do.
with benefits.
No way.
I mean,
No,
way.
roadies.
I'm a roadie because I'll set the shit up and work security. I'll just be
Right.
the guy with his arms crossed, like, get the fuck out of here, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a roadie.
Roadies are fans that hang out with the band, and groupies are just girls that want to hook up with the band.
No, that is not true. The definition
Can't sit here, seat's taken, Becca.
The definition of a groupie is a person, especially a young woman, who regularly follows a pop music group or other celebrity in the hope of meeting and getting to know them.
Yeah.
I'll look that up
getting to
right
know.
now.
And that's what I meant.
Oh.
It's
Well,
what Frank Zappa called a crew slut.
I do
We're
have
looking up
firsthand
groupie on Urban Dictionary.
I
Right,
have firsthand experience of what at least what people in bands think of a groupie as.
So Becca is a self-described groupie, which by Urban Dictionary means a young woman, often underage, who seeks to achieve status by having sex with rock musicians, roadies, security, and other band-related guys. See Susie Cream Cheese.
A groupie will have sex with a roadie and it counts, apparently.
You gotta move your way up.
Oh my God! I like fuck the roadie for Motley Crue.
Becca Cream Cheese.
No, that's just how you get in the door.
On the beach.
I tell him, you want to plug in my amp?
You said that like you've heard it before, Dave.
Well,
Well.
Damn it, Steve-O, tell me about space.
I would love to.
Steve-O, have the spotlight.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. So you guys know, I'm not always like talking about it or anything. You know, I'm not one of those people who talks about dreams that like the specific dream of placing a camera at a launch pad. I've talked to you guys about it, but it's not like I don't wear it on my sleeve, you know, because it's like
just on your head and on your shirt.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of people that are fans of space stuff, but you know they
You
wear,
usually
they wear
put
the
that
gear.
big old gold medallion for you put it in there.
Yeah,
I've seen that. I mean, you hide that big ass gold chain.
The one that says I want to be a launch photographer. That one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a space OG. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Right. So, but for quite some time, and probably before I moved here, I can't like put a date on it, but I thought that it would just be super cool to be able to set a remote camera at the launch pad. So, you know, I looked into how it was done, and you know, and I always followed all the awesome photography that comes out, and I know for sure before I moved here because I already knew who John Kraus was. He's this young dude that's been doing launch photography since he was, I don't know, when he started, like 16, 17. Actually going out to the pads and setting up his remote cameras and stuff. And, you know, I always saw his stuff whenever I was still living in Tennessee and on the SpaceX subreddit, and, you know, saw his launch streak photos, those long exposure shots, and thought, okay, well, I know a thing or two about long exposure. I'd love to be able to get down there and try that. Of course, when you live in Tennessee, it's very difficult. And I've talked to you guys about how if you want to come see a launch, this is how you do it, and it's very difficult, and schedules change, and it's hard to actually get here to see one. So I never saw one, much less tried to photograph one before we actually moved here. But I also, by the way, side note, I want to make this kind of a story about if you have a dream, I might have a little bit of insight on how to reach it. You know, I got into photography about the time that iPhones got good enough to take a decent picture. And so I started taking pictures of sunsets and just, you know, just whatever. But also around that same time, I started really getting into space I watched the Cosmos series was really what hooked me in with Carl Sagan. It's old, and I avoided watching it for a long time. It kept coming up in my YouTube stream, you know, Cosmos, and I'm like, man, that looks so old. Why the hell am I going to watch that? So I finally watched it, and it is just incredible, and it's inspiring, and Carl Sagan is probably the best science communicator that has ever lived and will ever live, and it wrote me in, and that's how I got into the space stuff. So those two interests were just kind of side by side for a long time, and then I decided I wanted to be able to take pictures of stars, and you just can't do it with an iPhone because you can't control your exposure and stuff enough to be able to take pictures of stars. So around about 2020 or 2012, I got a camera, a Canon 60D, which is kind of your middle of the road Canon. It's higher end than what like your Rebel line, but it's also lower end than their full frames, which are like their 5Ds, Mark whatever. And started just taking pictures of stars, and it wasn't very good. It's actually kind of interesting to go to my Instagram and scroll all the way down, because I've got all my terrible attempts at photography from the very beginning on there. And, you know, just constantly trying to improve and learn and understanding that every first attempt at something I shouldn't take too seriously, that it's not going to be good. And what I need to try to do is get the basics down and try to figure out what the settings should be, why they should be these settings. And constant improvement. It's something that I talk about anytime, you know, I get in a conversation like that. It's just constant improvement, you know, always kind of judge yourself and your own work and try to figure out something that others would critique, you know, and then try to go from there.
Yeah. Judge yourself, not as much against other people, but against the future self you know you could be.
Yeah, that's really good. All right, so cut to a few years later, we move here, and I really didn't have necessarily photography in mind, although I do remember making the point to not bring my camera to the first launch because I wanted to just experience it and not be trying to
I
take
saw
it. Take a bunch
Steve-O cry.
Wow.
Steve-O cried at a launch.
A single
Talk
tear.
about
Oh
shots
my
fired.
God.
I mean, it sounds good, but that wasn't true.
I believe Brad.
I believe Brad too.
I mean, I wish I
can't
could say.
imagine.
I wish I
Steve
was
was like, I wish I could.
I wish I was more
You
emotional.
cried and
and
the
stuff.
song from the shitty version of Star Trek played in your head. It's been a long run.
It was like that speech from Independence Day.
Yeah, I mean,
I still cry at that. Oh, wait, why do you have to bring that up?
maybe I got watery eyed or something, but it was really.
You have a right
cool.
to do that, you know.
Well, but understand that I'm not the kind of person to be like, I didn't cry.
Yeah, now that you say that, no one believes you. Go on.
Yeah. I mean,
I only cry in the arms of my groupies.
it was a
Bekah
moment.
cream cheese, where are you?
Now I see Patrick's hat.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Yeah, it was a long time coming, and I've been wanting to watch a launch for such a long time, and finally, I'm in the place where it all happens, and knowing that I get to watch many more, so many more that I'm not even going to bother bringing my camera because I'm going to be able to shoot plenty of launches. And so, yeah, as time goes on, I use my one camera and my two lenses. That's just two kit lenses for anybody out there that's into photography. I started out with your standard 18 to 55 millimeter short lens, and then a 75 to 300 millimeter telephoto. And they're not great lenses, but I made do. And actually, let me show you one of my first. Where is my? Oh, it's right here.
Oh, you're showing them the good shit.
My very first. What? I can't share my screen. What is this?
Oh,
Okay, so it's not going to
I
let me.
mean,
share
I
my
see
screen.
it on the.
You see it on
I see
Mixer.
it in the mixer.
Well,
yeah.
this was. If anybody's watching on Mixer, this was not my first attempt at a streak photo, but
I'll share my screen on your mixer.
Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't. Why it's not going to let me.
There, that's for you
yeah,
guys.
that'll work, Brad. Thanks.
Yeah.
So this was the first time that I was like, all right, I've got it, because I'd taken several attempts at these streak shots before I got this, and this was the point when I figured out the settings. So from there, I decided to get a lens, because this picture here was as wide as it could go with that lens, and so I couldn't capture the entire streak. But now I've got my settings right, and so I bought a lens, and then let's just see if I can pull up my first successful.
There's so many good shots there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why are
definitely.
you skipping over?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna order one of your
Oh, yeah.
prints
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, so this was my first successful streak shot here.
That was the one I gave my parents to put up in a frame.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the one I was like, give me this one. That's a Space Coast Steve original. I should have had you sign it.
Yeah, this was my very first successful, that I consider successful, streak shot. And then so from here I was like, all right, I've got it. I've at least got the settings down, so I don't have to just go out there and take some streak photo. A lot of people, especially people starting out, they'll just go out and plop their camera down, point it towards the sky, set their settings at this particular whatever, which I'm not trying to keep secrets here. Hey, if you're out there trying to do this, do F13 bulb mode and ISO 100.
That's your freebie from Space Coast Steve. Don't you dare ask him again.
I'm writing it down now.
Yeah.
That's right.
F13,
And then
bold.
just keep the shutter open, do some test shots, make sure that you're not blowing everything out with your 2.5 to 3.5 minute exposure, because that's a long time to gather light. But anyway, so from there,
I didn't know we were getting an inspirational story and tips,
And
and
instruction.
news.
It's
You're getting it all, baby.
it's the
Space
full
Ghost
package.
Steve, man. It's the full package. Why do you think he's OG? Welcome to the varsity, Steve-O.
All right, so in this. Oh wait, you know what? Okay. No, that first shot where I figured it out, where I figured out the settings where it didn't get all the streak, that was actually right about a year ago. It was in May. It was like May 4th or whatever. I was noticing that it's right above the shot that I just took, which means that it was taken, like a year and a couple weeks before that shot. So every time I took a shot, it was like, well, what can I do to make this interesting and not just be another streak shot? Because lots of people are doing it. And, I think I've had some pretty good results. And with that, in addition to just, my interest in this stuff has driven me to I go to the port every time there's a booster coming back, as long as I'm not at work, and I do the time-lapse thing where, I set up out there at Jetty Park, you see the booster come in on the drone ship, and as it passes me, I've learned that I have just enough time to hop in the car, go down towards where Fish Lips is and where Gator's Dockside is, and go down there and then start shooting from there. And then over time, I got better and better at it, and people really started to enjoy it and started to kind of look forward to those. It was like that was my contribution to the coverage of a rocket coming back into port. And was able to, kind of build up my Twitter following, and that's been really cool over the last year and a half or whenever it was that I started that Twitter. And then so upcoming Falcon Heavy, a couple months ago or maybe a month ago, I get an email that has the link in it to fill out an application to be media. And what that means is you have access to the launch pad like the day before, or in this case, it was the morning before because it was a late night launch.
So wait, somebody just saw your work and emailed you?
Well, I'm not sure. See, this a couple people have asked me, like, how did you even get the link? And I think it was because I had applied once before because a reporter friend of mine sent me the link. Mm-hmm. And I applied, and I didn't get in, but that was a while back, and I probably wasn't ready, but I did go ahead and buy a sound trigger, and I'll get into why, and I got things that I thought that I would need, or at least started planning ahead and started studying up and trying to figure it out, because it's not an easy thing, because your camera is sitting at the launch pad without you there in an environment that you've never been in, you've never taken a photo in, so you really have no idea what your settings should be. And most people that aren't like really into photography might be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I just point my camera at something and take a picture. Well,
that's art school shit.
This
is big leagues.
With something like this, you have to have full control over your settings. And you also have to know exactly what to set them to. So I got in, and that was all exciting. And last week I told you guys that I think that this is happening, but I wasn't 100% sure. I was like, maybe I got this email by mistake, because all I got was, this is the schedule. If you are media, this is the schedule. This is when you pick up your badge. This is when you show up to go out to the launch pad. And this is when you show up for launch viewing. And this is where you go. So I told you guys, and I didn't want to talk about it on the show because I could just be delusional, and I'm going to show up and try to get my badge, and they're going to be like, who the fuck are you? But I went over there to,
what's the name of that room?
The Mars room.
What?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that's where SpaceX does, or at least for this one. I don't know if they always use that room, but that's where they did their they giving out of the badges. And so I show up there and fill out this little piece of paper. Of course, at this point, I'm filling out this piece of paper, and I'm like, I'm going to feel real dumb.
They're going to say, excuse
Right?
me, wait, what's this name you wrote down here?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not on my clipboard. Sorry.
Exactly.
Who aren't you?
And
Who aren't
Walk
you?
your ass away, Domino's
like, what do
man.
you think? And actually, this was kind of a cool thing. So I show up, and there's a little bit of a line. All the other people are waiting to get in there and get their badge. And I walk in, and I'm right behind a local reporter named Ken Kramer, who, He's one of these guys. He was kind of a
Ken Kramer with the news.
Ken Kramer, more than meets the eye.
he's one of these guys that I knew about before moving down here. I mean, I'd seen his photography. I'd read some of his articles. I'd even seen him on NASA TV on those like post-launch press briefings. But I met. He was one of the first people I met out here at the port. I was like, oh my God, I know that guy. So we'd had a few conversations. So whenever I walked up and got behind him, he turned around, did a double take, and he's like, "You're here?"
Wow.
And I said, "Man, I'm just as surprised as you are." He's like, "What? Well," and he's like, "What? How? Wait, what the? Who are you?" And I'm like, "Man," I was like, I applied as freelance, because there are a handful of freelance photographers that are allowed.
A handful of freelance photographers. Oh.
Do you think it's?
Steve-O's a part of a handful.
I don't know.
I'm not sure
what I was
you're
getting at.
What, Brad?
Thank you, Bekah.
I thought you were saying it should.
Sorry to interrupt.
Like it's more.
I think it was to say like handful as in one.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you were going
there's others.
one-
There's
A
other.
couple.
There's definitely.
There's like three. There's three. A handful.
I don't
Steve,
know.
please continue.
I really don't know. I really don't know how many out there are freelance.
He doesn't have time. He's Space Ghost Steve. You don't know. You don't have the time. You don't know.
I swear, you're gonna make me
Disney.
sound like I'm full of myself.
No, you keep
Steve,
being modest.
no.
I'll keep hyping you. That's how the game works, baby.
Yeah,
Good
get your
cop, bad
hype
cop.
in.
All right. Yeah. So to my surprise, they handed me a badge, and so I'm elated. And I walk out. I walk out of the room. I've got my badge in my hand, and I see John Krause, and this isn't the first time.
Give him the finger.
Put on Brad's shades and give him the finger.
Yeah. I'm
I
looking.
didn't half the time, you sorry
I'm coming
loser.
for
Yeah.
you, asshole.
You're like, I'm looking for a rival, and you're it.
No, he definitely not half the time. I'm pretty sure he
You're
was.
my Gary to my Ash.
he
Go
was-
all scorpion on him. Get over here.
He was definitely shooting rockets much quicker than I was, because he yeah. So anyway,
That imply.
yeah, like I think he did it like a year into being a photographer. Anyway, so I saw him and I was like, dude, I'm not crazy. I got it. And he's like, that's awesome, And then on the way out, I saw another reporter friend.
You said, "What's up, faggot?"
or I'm sorry, he's not a reporter. He's the the camera guy for Channel 9. And I was like, dude, look, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't delusional. I got it. And congratulations and all that. But I had to get back to work. I was on the clock. Luckily, where the pickup was in our delivery area.
Steve,
Just glad
let
this entire interaction happened while you had a Domino shirt on and hat.
Yeah.
me ask you, how much of this? It's not just the fact that you're out there doing the work every chance you can, taking the pictures, but it's also the fact that you make friends with people and you interact with them and you get connections that way. Because that to me is the true superpower that you do
Networking.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Networking is important.
Well, it is important, but I don't think that any of these people had anything to do with it, except that yeah, you meet people and maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not saying you got a special connection, but you have to. I would think that part of it is you have to have a personality that even when they see you, when people talk to you, they're like, oh, we like having that guy around. We like him. When they see you, whoever it is gives you the badge. You have a personality. You try to make friends with people.
It could be.
And by being in that handful and in that clique of folk, you share tips. Maybe maybe they don't even offer them, but you're just picking up on something. You go, oh, I didn't even realize that. I should be doing something like that, and go from there. So I mean, it's not that they did something for you; it's that that group, albeit as it were, was part of a catalyst, either to your willpower or actually to your brain, and that helped enable and push you forward through it.
It's the ability and willingness to put yourself out there. To me, that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. Like there could definitely be like some. some name recognition. I'm out there. I'm not like every once in a while I take a picture and I put it on the internet. It's like I've met a lot of the people at the port. It's almost always at the port because everybody's always hanging out taking pictures there whenever there's a rocket. But maybe it's like if my name comes up, the reaction is, oh yeah, that guy, I like that guy.
Mhm.
And then maybe, and I'm sure that helps. And I have always been a believer of networking. I try not to make it obvious, that that's what's going on, but I do.
So I got 8 out of my 10 jobs. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally fine.
Yeah, I'd, pick their brains. And if there were because a lot of times at the port, you're just you're speculating. You're like, well, when do you think they're going to take the legs off? Or when do you think they're going to lay it down? Or, or how do you think they're going to do? When do you think they're going to start actually folding up the legs instead of taking them off or whatever, and you're just shooting the shit with people out there. And I think as long as you don't come across as a know-it-all or a know-nothing, then
it's really cool to me because personally, my struggle is always, my instinct is I have two options immediately when I meet people. It's, do I tolerate them or do I hate them? And so I have, and it's something I've had to get better with.
Yeah.
I used to be on one list and now I'm on the other.
I think I relate with you, except for when it comes to this stuff, like, because it's my thing. It's like if you were at a conference for martial arts, you might.
Oh,
be
I'm terrible. I'm so. When I go to Aikido stuff, I am like, I'm the worst. I don't talk to people. I don't.
Really?
I mean, I'm friendly as much as I can be, but usually I'm just very much like how I am at work. My just dead angry my angry looking face, it's I don't know.
If they don't know you, they cannot appreciate it.
It's difficult for me, but
I put on my bubble sometimes at work when I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'll just put on my bubble. That's how I see it.
There was one time that that we had a Falcon 9 booster coming back, and I drank a little too much the night before, stayed up too late, and of course the rockets always come back early. Almost always.
Sorry,
they come back
buddy.
Really early in the morning, and so I did make it. I made it to the port, but I was just really hungover, and I was still doing it, but I was not as sociable that time. So that's
the sign of a professional, Steve-O.
Well, right, but it may have been detrimental. Not detrimental, but it was like I probably didn't make some connections that I could have at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
It could have been bad, but it wasn't because you know what the fuck you're doing because you're a professional. Space Ghost Steve up in this motherfucker. I don't want to give spoiler alerts, but Steve-O got a very nicely worded email from a certain place that I'm trying not to.
Thank you.
That's as spoiler alert as possible.
Well, no.
Well, fine. Let him tell you the story.
Yeah, I think I would remember to get to it, but I do appreciate you
I'm Paul Harvey.
Good day.
Good day.
All right, so this opportunity happened for me, and I got to place a remote camera at the launch pad. So we show up in the morning, and I'm nervous as hell. There's all these photographers that I know. I see them, and I know their names, most of them.
Big boys in the prison yard, and you're there.
Yeah, and I'm the little guy.
New fish.
You got to pick out the toughest one. Punch him in the face.
Punch him in the face or be his best friend.
You got a pretty mouth.
What I was, I don't know if surprised. I mean, I guess I should have expected it, but I guess relieved. It was how just nice and supportive everybody was. It wasn't like, oh, who's this guy? Who's he think he is? And maybe that, speaks to, developing relationships throughout the time that I've been here. Like people saw me there and they're like, oh shit, you made it,
You did it, kid. You did it again.
And actually, Tom Cross, who's he's one of the photographers for Tesla Roddy. He came over and kind of talked shop with me a little bit, asking, what are you planning on doing? And I told him what I was planning on doing, and then he's like, oh, well, maybe you want to try this a little bit, unless you're trying to go for this. And then I was like, well, I'm kind of trying to actually go for this, like a range of things. And he's like, oh man, that's a good idea. That's cool, awesome. And then just everybody else being nice. Nathan Barker's another photographer. He kind of, I was like, hey, has anybody ever used the Vela Pop sound trigger? And can you just tell me where's a good spot to put my dial? Because, and I'll go ahead and get into that. The way this works is
You can't be out there because you'll die.
you will literally die,
Kind of a thing.
not from fire, but from sound. The sound,
You die, son. Crush you.
If you're that close to a rocket launch, the percussive waves.
It will gelatinize your innards.
Yeah, it's a bad place to be. And I don't know why cameras can survive it. Maybe because they're not made of Jello themselves.
They're not made of carbon.
Wait,
It's
I
like
thought Jell-O
1,000
made
ways
things
to die. It's like the
superpowered.
Why is this not in a fucking movie? 1,000 Ways to Die. There's some rocket launch photographer who's like, oh, I gotta fucking be there.
Jumps the fence and starts running.
Yeah.
And well, probably because I'm already troubleshooting my own idea. Probably because people don't realize rocket launches are loud as fuck to dumb it down.
They really, really are.
So yeah, how 1,000 Ways to Die would break it down was they would say, hey, this happened, and then this much time later, this happened. They would present it very factual, but it would be like, hey, at the point of impact of the sound hitting you from the rocket and the fuel coming out at such a rate is very fast. Very, very fast. People don't realize that.
It's supersonic speeds, from what I understand.
Supersonic, so that means past the speed of sound. So sound is already traveling faster than sound can be sound.
And someone will correct me for sure if I'm wrong about that. If any of the space people listen, they'll be like, that's wrong.
Well, Steve-O, you're right. And you know what? Cast your grievances at 865-316-6955. And tell Steve-O why he's wrong. And he'll listen to it before anybody else can. And then he'll filter it. And he will present it in a podcast. He will acknowledge that you called and then answer your question in the way that Steve-O will. And you will have your satisfaction from calling that number. What's it again? 865-316-6955.
That's the one.
I'm gonna get
Steve-O,
Yeah.
You got your sound trigger.
Got my sound trigger. Yeah, I got that months and months ago.
But you're setting it up.
Yeah, so we get out to the pad, and they stop at various places around the pad. But someone told me, like, as long as you're on the bus, you can set your camera up inside the fence, which is the closest spot. And I'm like, well, fuck yeah, damn right, that's where I'm going. Why would I do anything else?
I loved your tweet. I hate interrupting, but I love the tweet about the go left instead of go right.
Wait,
when you were arriving to the center, you said, "I'm so used to going this way, and now with my press pass, I can go this way down to the pad." And I went, "Oh man, that's
Steve-O's
so
just
cool."
walking around like this. You can't put it down. Just
fuck you! I'm supposed to be here, bitch.
He's waving it at
what
the
are you gonna do about it?
Field.
Let me put on my sunglasses and tell you what I'm
There's
gonna
an
do
alligator
about it.
over there, and he's showing to him.
Hey, I'm allowed to be here, Gator.
Are
Fuck
you?
off, dude.
Where are your
Where are
fucking
you supposed to be right now, huh? I'll tell you where I am expected. My sunglasses are on the face.
Yeah, for anybody so when you go to the Kennedy Space Center visitor complex, well, they've moved the entrance, but anyway, before, like, I don't know, a couple months ago, you'd be going down the NASA Causeway, and then if you had no business, like, on Kennedy Space Center grounds, you had to make this right turn into the visitor complex. And I'd never gone past that red light. I'd only gone past that on a bus, on one of the tours or something. And, you go to the little guard shack and he, okays you and you go on. But this was my first time driving my own car through that. And then you take a turn, and now you're driving straight towards the vehicle assembly building. And it's this monstrous building. If you don't know, it's where they used to put together the space shuttle and where they put together the Saturn V that sent the astronauts to the moon. And I'm so used to seeing it, like, kind of trying to duck and try to get a good view while I'm on a bus, like trying to look through the windshield of the bus. But now, I've got my windshield. I've got
put it back.
Only my windshield in front of me, and it's such a monumental view. And I'm trying to follow Google Maps because I don't exactly know where to turn. But one thing I notice is that most people out there go the speed limit. and I think that
It's government property, bitch.
No,
That's why,
there were-
yeah, good idea.
I mean, there are police on grounds. There's Kennedy Space Center police, but I just noticed
Be
that
the
when
one
I
guy
was-
fucking up in your department, dude. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. I think it speaks to the type of people that work for NASA. Is like, you know, they kind of they follow the rules, I guess. You know, and Bekah, I think you would appreciate that.
Becca, you could work for NASA if you really wanted it to. Listen to Space
Because
Ghost Steve for
rules.
details.
Because rules. You
Because
like,
of rules. I like rules.
yeah. So all
rules,
right.
rules.
So get to the press site and the parking lot, and you know everybody's kind of lining up all their gear to waiting to put it on the bus and go out to the pad, and they're mingling. A lot of these people have known each other a long time, but they don't live around each other. They kind of congregate for a big launch, like especially a Falcon Heavy, and especially a Falcon Heavy at night, because we've never seen that before. No, that there's only been 2 other Falcon Heavy launches, and they were both during the day. So everybody loves a night launch because they're just so beautiful. It's completely dark, and then all of a sudden the sky lights up like it's daylight. So we go out to the pad, and first stop was not the spot where I wanted to set up my camera, but I got a couple shots, and then we get back on the bus, and then we go inside the fence, and I'm like, my heart's pounding, my knees are kind of shaking. I mean, honestly, dude, I was like, all right, I'm only going to have a limited amount of time, and luckily they said we have 30 minutes, and I was like, all right, good. I feel like I can do this in 30 minutes. And so get out, and just my fucking tunnel vision, I'm like, all right, good. Find a nice open spot. I'm, no one's camera's in front of me. I'm not in front of anybody else's camera. Set down. Okay, first things first. Stakes in the ground. Pow, 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 pow. Tie the rope because I've got pre-positioned twine at the feet of my tripod.
Power
I've
move
already
there.
tied it off.
Deserve to be here.
Already tied it off on there. So I've put it where I want the tripod, and then I put I'm going tink tink tink. I didn't even bring a hammer. I'm an idiot. I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to bring a hammer, but of course the rest of the day I'm like, everybody's got a fucking hammer for
Swing a wrench, swing a tire iron. You'll be ready.
So anyway, I get my stakes in, and I got positioning my camera, get the angle that I want, and make sure my camera settings are right, which I'd already set them the night before. Make sure I've got it. Boop 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 boop. Okay, good. Make sure it's set to full resolution format card because in case you never know, your camera might start firing when it's like before the launch, and I just don't want to risk that the card gets full. Before
That's gotta suck.
So I'm like, just make sure. Okay, format. Okay, good. We're formatted. Okay, we're formatted.
Yeah.
All right. Sound trigger is on. Battery connected. Threshold. You got to set your threshold because you don't want just. I didn't explain what a sound trigger is. It might be self-explanatory, but just in case.
When it goes boom, the camera takes a picture.
Right. Exactly. When the sound trigger hears something, then it triggers your camera to start shooting, and you don't want just any sound to set it off because my camera's going to be, spoiler alert, it's inside a trash bag, but don't worry, it's a force flex.
We tested it at the apartment first, made sure that sound trigger worked real good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So got that going, got bags on, and I had made this little tiny hole in the trash bag so that I could just open it enough and stretch it around the lens so it's not flapping or anything, and you tape your focus ring. You know how on a lens you can turn the thing for focus. First you find focus, and then you tape that bitch down so nothing can move it. And same thing with your zoom ring. You can turn it to zoom. You just tape that too. Put the bag over it. Try to gather the excess bag behind it. You don't want the wind blowing and getting in front of the lens, right?
So why do you have the bag on it?
In case it rains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because most cameras are weather resistant, but Florida can have some.
Florida, that don't mean shit.
How long is it sitting out there? Just
for this one, it was out there probably about 11 hours, 10 or 11 hours before launch, and then about another 12 to 14 hours after the launch before I got to pick it up.
Long time for a camera to sit around.
Yeah,
put the electronics out in the sun.
And I didn't really think about it, but the trash bag that I had, which is the trash bags we use and we endorse, Force Flex bags. They are white.
Fair
They ain't paying us.
Force
Sponsor.
Flex bags, you can put a lot of shit in them.
And they're white.
Nice
So
sponsor.
so I was thinking, white, that'll reflect some of the heat at least, help, protect the camera. But most of the guys that have been out there and girls that have been doing this a long time, they have boxes that they've made for their cameras that mount on a tripod that the camera goes inside. They got a little flap on the back, and just a whole.
That'll be a
in the
fun
front.
arts and crafts project that Bekah Cream Cheese can help you with.
Actually, yeah, that would be cool. But you know what? The reason that I didn't feel pressure to do that is because John Krause just uses a grocery bag.
He don't give a shit, son. Look at these pictures; they're dope as fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck with me, son.
Yeah.
Say don't use that trash bag. You might learn something, kid. Talk to me when you're on Bloomberg. Steve,
Right.
take
Yeah.
it away.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I figure, somebody that can take shots like that can be on the cover of Bloomberg, and he just uses, a Publix bag. Then all right, cool. But actually, I went with a bigger bag because I wasn't sure which lens I was going to use. So it might have been my big lens or whatever. So anyway,
Why went out with the Force Flex, baby?
Force Flex all the way.
That out, no sponsorships. What's up?
But we'll take them. All right, so camera's set, and right about the time I'm taping up the bag because I take what's loose on the bag and I tape it to the leg on the back of the tripod just to make sure it's not flapping around. And then the SpaceX guy that's kind of our escort, he's like, "All right, guys, we gotta go." And I'm like, "All right, perfect." I had just enough time to take a quick picture of my setup, just to tweet it out or whatever. And so, I went and I got back on the bus.
Wait for the groundbreaking part, guys.
And then
The heartbreaking part.
And then I sit down on the bus, and Ken Kramer, who's right across the aisle from me on the bus, he's kind of going through his stuff, and I see him pull out some hand warmers. And I had hand warmers with me.
God damn it! I didn't know you had them with you.
Oh yeah, I had 10 of them.
You didn't tell me that.
I did not put the hand
Oh.
warmers on.
Florida in summer,
my
you think a
lens.
man packs some hand warmers without a
So I forgot to put the hand warmers on, and I didn't want to be like, "Hey, please, let me go, let me go put my hand warmers
No,
on."
no,
please."
you would have destroyed your social bubble.
Yeah, that'd be terrible.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Newly
do that.
formed bubble.
I figured,
No.
well, if it turns out really
you got
bad,
3 launches till you can call that shot.
yeah, but if it turns out really bad, then no matter how it turns out, I'll learn. It was this whole thing was I will learn something as long as the fucking camera fires. The camera's got to
Professional.
fire, otherwise I'll learn nothing. Right? So I was like, all right, cool. I forgot my hand warmers. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe it just won't be too bad. Hopefully, it won't be too bad.
So what did the hand warmers do for the
Oh,
camera?
sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
So in humidity, camera lenses tend to fog up, just like your glasses, right?
Yeah.
So if you take a couple hand warmers and rubber band them around your lens, it'll keep your lens warm because hand warmers last, 10 hours, right? 10, 15 hours. It'll keep that lens warm and it'll repel the condensation and keep your lens clear. So it's kind of one of those that, you do it no matter what is going on, because if it happens to have even if it's during the day, if it happens to have rained shortly before launch, you still might get some moisture built up on your lens. So it's best to just go ahead and throw some hand warmers on there. So that was kind of, that was a bummer, but I was okay with it because I didn't expect to get a Pulitzer Prize winning photo anyway. Really, honestly, I was looking at this as a first of many opportunities. Just like I mentioned before, every time I've taken a first attempt at a photo, it's always just a learning experience, and don't be too hard on myself about, are other people going to like it? Is it a great photo or whatever? I need to get my settings down, get my basics down, and then I'll take it from there. All right, so cut to launch. All day I'm worried, about the hand warmer thing, but I'm pretty sure that my camera's going to work because so the day before we went out there, Sunday, I set the stuff up in my room with the sound trigger on, camera on, and then I left for work with the settings that I planned on using. Set it all up, and I left for work. And when I came home, I yelled at my camera to see if it would take some pictures. After 10 hours, after 10 hours of sitting in my room, it goes into sleep mode. Most cameras go into sleep mode, and it worked. So I felt confident that my setup was going to work. All right, so that's cool. So cut to, now that that's done, I can just think about just getting ready for the launch. Where am I going to go? I already knew I was going to Jetty Park. I'd already told some people that I'm going to Jetty Park, and I had this great idea for a photo. So I met a couple people, John and Crystal. Crystal, I had asked her to do some light painting for me because there was one particular payload out of 24 payloads on
that mattered.
There was only one that mattered that much to me. There was a lot of really cool stuff on there. So this was called the Space Test Program. Is it Space? I think it's Space Test Program, where they were testing out a bunch of different things, and some of them were propulsion ideas, and some of them were basically a new type of GPS in space that's like so accurate that it loses a second every million years or something crazy like that. It's this atomic clock that's going to help things like astronauts as well as satellites and probes in space navigate easier than us relying on ground-based systems to figure out where things are in space and where they should go.
You don't realize it, but we need it.
Yeah, we definitely need it. It would really help. It would make deep space exploration cheaper because you wouldn't need all this ground infrastructure to make all that happen. But the thing that I was most interested in was called LightSail, and it's a program that was started by the Planetary Society, which was founded by Carl Sagan, who is my hero, and he talked about it way back in the 70s and 80s about how there's this theoretical idea that you could have a massive, really, really shiny sail, really lightweight sail, and light could propel it. Light does not have mass, but it does have momentum. And in physics, we learn that things with mass and things with momentum have energy and can react on things. So if you have something really shiny, the light can bounce off of that shiny thing and help push it forward just a little bit. So wouldn't it be cool if on some spacecraft where it's appropriate, it's not going to be appropriate for everything, but if we kept the cost down and also added life to that, like extended the life of that spacecraft by putting this light sail on it, is what they call it. Generally you call it a solar sail, but they called their specific project the light sail. So this thing's like 30 square meters or something like that. It's the size of a boxing ring, if you can picture that.
Mm-hmm. So what's it being attached to?
It's got it's a CubeSat. It's like, okay, I think it's a 3U CubeSat, and 1U is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters cubed. So this was 3U, so that's 3 units, so it's 30 centimeters long and 10 centimeters tall, and that's in 10 centimeters. And it'll, whenever the time comes, which it hasn't come yet, it's about a week after launch that it's supposed to happen, it will be deployed from the Prox 1 deployer, I guess it would be a good term for it. I forgive me, space nuts. I can't remember exactly what you'd call it, but it'll be deployed from that, and then they'll do some checkouts, communicate with it, make sure it's okay, and then a few days after that, they'll deploy the sail. And then the mission will nominally be a month, and over that month, they're going to see if they can raise its orbit by just using the light from the sun. So as it's going around the Earth, when the sun is behind it, they'll turn the spacecraft, and the sun will hopefully push it. And then whenever it comes around the other side, they'll turn it so that it's edge on with the sun, so that the sun's not slowing it down. And the way they're going to slow it down, by the way, is not thrusters and stuff. It's like little gyros inside there that'll spin one way or the other to add momentum to turn it, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, smart.
Yeah. Where's that energy come from?
from
The
the
gyros.
From a generator on
battery.
board the craft.
Batteries and solar panels, very small solar panels.
They're
Things
putting
that
a
are easy to
sail-
get.
They're putting a sail in space.
Mm-hmm.
What about like the aerodynamics? I mean, what if the sun's blowing the wrong way?
I thought,
Break it down
I thought
for
you were
him,
gonna
Steve-O.
say how's the wind gonna blow it?
How's that wind blow in
It's
space?
the solar wind, man. It's the solar wind.
The solar wind.
All right, so
You need people like me.
that particular mission I've been following for a long time. I'm a big fan of Carl Sagan. So I thought that I would do a tribute to Carl Sagan. But before I show you the photo, I want to listen to some audio that a friend of mine that I made. Actually, we met out on Playa Linda Beach for a different launch. I saw his setup. He had a
You're gonna say, I want to listen to it. Before we do that, I want to listen to a song.
Before I do that, I'm
No.
gonna
And then you
listen to a
start
song
playing
he
it-
made.
and then you start playing Enya.
So
All right, go on.
when I met him, he was up on the crossover because it had a great view, and like this crossover on this beach goes way up, and he's up top. He's got this tripod with this cube of GoPros. Right? If you can imagine a cube where on the bottom it's mounted to the tripod, but on every other side there's a GoPro.
Mhm.
Right?
The poor man's VR.
Well, it works. So what they do is that he takes those videos from those GoPros and he stitches them all together and makes a 360-degree view that you can view in VR.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
Called it.
really freaking cool. And so he was telling me about that. I was like, man, this is awesome. And then, just how you do on social media, you friend each other or follow each other, and then you kind of start talking. And so this launch, we knew where we were going to be, and, he was going to come down there to Jetty Park too. And so we met up. And so his setup was only, I don't know, maybe 50 or 100 feet from me up on a dune, kind of away from us. And so what this is just the audio, because he hasn't put out the video yet because it takes a lot of time to put that shit together. He's kind of told me about it, and it sounds very complicated, and I'm glad I'm not the one doing it. But all right, so this is the audio, and this is actually a pretty good representation of what it sounds like when you're on the beach and the launch is happening. And so what you're going to hear in this first clip, and I'm going to play about 2 minutes of it. But you're going to hear it, he starts the audio right when the sound starts getting to us, okay? And then it's about a minute 55 seconds in, this thing happens where, and you only see this during a night launch, where there is a land landing, okay, where the first and second stage separate, and the first stage flips around where its engines are now forward, and it relights them to slow itself down and start to direct itself back towards Cape Canaveral. Mm-hmm. And what that does is the second stage is starting to light at this point, and their engines are pointed towards each other, and the interaction between their exhaust plumes create these crazy colors. So towards the end of this 2 minutes, you're going to hear everyone just go crazy, like, whoa, because that's what they're seeing. And I guess
I've been trying to email myself a video of what I took, which is through a shitty screen, but now I know better. But I've been trying to pull up the video, so I'll pull that up eventually.
All
It's a video; it can be done later.
All right, so listeners, I think that I have this at an appropriate volume where it's not going to kill your speakers, but you may just want to tap your volume down a little bit to start, just to make sure.
Yeah, hit us with it.
Yeah, here you go.
Cool.
Shit was real cool to see. I'm trying to get that video to work, guys. Podcast video's not. But it
Did
was
the
cool
video,
stuff.
is it still going, Steve-O?
Yeah,
It cut out.
Oh,
It
yeah,
cut
cut
out.
out. Anyway, there's
'cause-
not much happening here. I will
It's because
say,
Brad keeps talking, I think.
No, it just faded out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it just faded out.
yeah, I wasn't talking when it faded out. That's why I thought I could talk.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see here. Let me turn it up a little bit. I just don't want it to clip out.
So how many miles away is that?
We're about 12 to 14 miles from the launch pad.
Note that volume, because that seems to be working, because we can talk over it and still hear it. I see how I see the video on Steve-O's screen. We got plenty of time to talk.
I really wanted a 50s shot of a spaceship with a string coming from it as a GIF while we were talking about this. I couldn't find anything like that. I knew were we making you nervous in the text thread where you because we were coming up with all that stuff. I thought for sure we was like, he's nervous.
Okay, so that's that's booster separation, and now everybody's about to see the crazy colors here in just a few seconds. And you'll hear me say, "Wow!" Here they go.
Yeah, it was some cool shit. I'd never seen that, even though I told Steve I saw it, and he was like, "No, you've seen it every single time. Get out of here." Like, no. I started seeing rocket launches about the same time you did, Steve. I'd never seen that shit before. Two boosters coming back, maybe it was amplified.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, that was like, whoa, I was like, what the fuck's happened? I didn't say it out loud because I was trying to take a video through a shitty screen, but it was also...
So, all right, so that sound, for whatever reason, continued on for over 6 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. We kept hearing these pops, and this is strange.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Did you experience that too, Brad?
Yeah, it was the exact same here, and I got a story for later for a quick interjection of watching my neighbors during.
Oh right, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead to the landing because it's so cool to hear everyone reacting to the landing. So what you're gonna hear is you're gonna hear the reaction first, and then you'll hear the sonic boom, and then you'll hear the roar of the engines doing their landing burn. Okay, it's just the way it works is the sonic boom happens way up there.
Play in the video, Steve-O. Play the video. Well, let them experience it with the mystery in their hearts, and then you come in.
So what you're gonna hear is you're gonna hear the sonic boom first because it happens way up there, but before obviously the landing burn, and then you're going to hear the roar of the engines lighting to slow themselves down. But before that, you'll hear people reacting. They'll react to the first stage lighting up, or the first side booster, and then once the second side booster lights up, then they'll go nuts.
Right, they're seeing it, and then you're hearing the sound after.
Right. All right, here you go. Now, right now, everybody's kind of waiting, like when's it going to happen? Because we know that they're falling, but we can't really see them. In fact, I could see one just a little bit. There's one.
Steve-O, that could be somebody wading into a crowd with a knife, just starting to stab people.
And they're just cheering, like,
Could
yeah.
be anything.
All right, here comes the sonic boom.
That's exciting.
From my apartment balcony, or Steve and I's apartment balcony, it's fucking loud, dude.
Yeah.
I'll tell you about that later.
When you look at the graph, you can see on the stream where the sonic boom is, and I was watching where you had cued it beforehand. Yeah, that's really kind of cool.
See,
very helpful.
I wanna listen to the sonic boom again and see if you can pick out three booms per booster.
I heard three.
Three?
Three.
Okay.
I heard
Three
three
per
person.
booster.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. There we go.
Those are the sonic.
You hear it? It's ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da.
Yep.
what you're hearing there, there's a sonic boom created by the bottom of the booster, and then there's a sonic boom created by the grid fins that are at the top. Can show.
That's so cool.
And then there's another one that's created by the actual top of the rocket, right? Okay, these grid fins here. If you're watching on the stream, so that's why it's but it's not ba. It's like there's a little bit of a separation there between the first and then the other two, right? It's ba.
It's the length of the rocket, or it's the length of the booster.
Exactly. So, all right. So that all happened, and then once it was all over, I get to look at my shot for the first time.
Yeah, let's see your pictures, man. Let's see what came of all this. I want to see it.
Brad, can you share? Can you share the screen? I don't know why this isn't letting me do it.
Go light sail.
Yeah, so that was my tribute to Light Sail. I had Crystal. I'd seen some of the stuff that she'd done before, and I was like, you seem like you know how to do this, So do you think would you be willing to ride out Go Light Sail for me before the launch, of course, because I just overlaid this after the fact. And
I see.
So she agreed, and and so she wrote it out, and I think it looks great. And I think it's a great shot. I happened to find this little spot in Jetty Park with these cool little flowers. And the two lines that you're seeing at the top, if you can, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but I think you can. That's the re-entry burn where the boosters are coming in at the very top of the atmosphere, and they're slowing themselves down just enough to not be burned up by the atmosphere. And
That's
then,
so crazy.
Of course, I didn't realize this was going to happen, but I had my camera set down so low, and this is actually a hill, and the very top of the landing burn you can see right here, but that's all you could get because I usually the landing burns would start up higher, and I would have at least had like up here, but in this mission they did it a little bit differently, so the landing burn started lower, so I didn't get much of the landing burn, but I was still over the moon about the photo. And so I sit,
so to speak.
So to speak.
Which actually, this is the moon right here. That's the moon. And the reason there's a little bit of a separation is because this is two images. One image, well, it's actually three, because one of the images takes up the Go Light Sail part. But one image is this streak shot right here, and then that's like 3.5 minutes, and then I just shut the shutter. I stopped filming, not filming. You're not filming when you're doing this, but and then I started up the camera again about a minute and a half later to catch the entry burn and the landing burn in one shot, and that's why there's a little bit of a break right there in that line. Otherwise, if I had just left my shutter open for the whole time, then that would be one solid line, which is the moon.
That's a truer picture because you could have photoshopped one of the moons out. Because this man photoshops, he knows what to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't do. I try to do as little doctoring to it. I mean, there might be some people out there that think that layering like this is disingenuous, but I say fuck them, because
you show the difference in time between just that few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and some people do like to do like a full duration, open the shutter for the entire 8 minutes or however long it lasts, and that's definitely a way to do it. I haven't done that yet.
That's a third camera's job.
Yeah, maybe like for the first. I mean, you can test it out. You can do a test run, before the launch and make sure that nothing's going to blow out. But
Steve-O, let's see your launch pad pics.
All right. Well, okay. Well, real quick, just since I have this one pulled up, I sent this to the Planetary Society, which is a very big organization they're essentially a lobbying group. It's a nonprofit lobbying group that goes to Congress and talks to different congressmen and tries to get them to be willing to spend more money on NASA, and specifically like planetary type missions, to go explore Mars or Pluto or Jupiter or whatever. That's their thing.
Bill Nye is in charge of that. He's
Exactly.
chairman of it, I believe.
So I emailed it to Danielle Gunn, who is, I'm not sure what her title is, but it was suggested to me by Emery Kelly that I should send it to her. And she emailed me back, and she said, me and my colleagues, we all love this. This is great. We love this tribute, and we, I think they tweeted like, we think Carl would have loved this too. She's like, we'd love to be able to use this on our social platforms as well as on our website articles and in our print magazine.
Wow, that's a lot.
Awesome.
That's a lot. And
Yeah.
I said, and this is just because I just believe in this mission so much, and I really hope that this works out and is proven to be a viable method of propulsion. That I was just like, I don't want anything. Just you have free rights to use it however you want. Just use it. That's cool.
It's going to show up on a commercial in 6 months.
Yeah, why'd you say I don't
Steve
want
gets a
anything?
fat check in the mail.
No, he gave it to him already.
Yeah, I gave it
Yeah,
to him.
you just gave it to him.
All right. So
There'll
I go.
be no check at this
No,
point.
don't any bad things I've said about Bill Nye, Steve-O in no way agrees with any of that. That was all on me.
Yeah.
Steve-O's not affiliated with the
Not affiliated with
comments
me.
on verbal assault, but he
Anyway.
is still a crucial part.
So I get back to my camera the next day in the afternoon, or in the evening actually, to reveal that I did in fact have photos on my camera.
Yeah.
So like before we got there, Trevor Malman, who's another photographer that I look up to, I see all of his stuff. He was actually the guy that was helping everybody see the Starlink satellites. You remember talking about that? He was the one that was like, "Here, let me just write out this tutorial on how to see them, how to know when and where to look."
Yeah.
But he right before we got to the pad, he was like, "Hey, Steve, how do you feel about picking up your first remote?" And I'm like, "I'm terrified."
He knew it too.
He's like, "Yeah, why?" And I said, "Man, as long as it fired, that's all I care about. As long as it fired, then I'll be able to learn something to go forward to my next opportunity." And so
Right
this
answer.
is what I ended up with, and I'm pretty happy
That's
with
crazy
it
awesome.
Really cool.
for how hazy it was, because the fog did attack my lens. So if the fog wasn't on my lens, this huge ball of light would not be there. You would see 3 streams of light coming down. They would be overexposed. That you wouldn't see the detail in the flames or anything, but it would at least not be all blown out right here, and you would not see these water spots on the lens.
Still cool.
Yeah,
Still
absolutely,
cool.
absolutely. This isn't like, oh, I'm disappointed in myself. Or
Yeah,
like
you
that.
show that to somebody, just a regular
They
person.
don't know
they're not
better.
gonna. They're just be like, "Oh wow, that's cool."
That's dope.
They're gonna be like, "Oh, your lens was fogged up, wasn't it?"
Yeah, right.
Didn't
take
take
the
the
hand
time to
warmers?
put hot hands on it, I see.
Steve
You're
already
not
told me
really
he
a
won't forget it.
professional.
Yeah, he was. I think Brad was like, "Yeah, make sure you write a note or do something." I'm like, I will never forget hand warmers again.
Especially after all this fucking banter.
Where every time I talk about my photo, I have to mention, well, the reason that it looks like this and not awesome is because I didn't have hand warmers. Because it would
It
have
should
been.
be the name of the show. Don't forget your hand warmers, Steve-O.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that's the better name than what I was thinking.
That's actually pretty good. Yeah, so I mean, with the this, it's steam mostly. It's steam and smoke. Because they drench the launch pad with water as it's launching, because it dampens the sound. It's not necessarily just a cooling thing to keep everything cool. It's to dampen the sound so that the sound doesn't bounce off the ground and back up into the rocket and destroy the rocket. Because
You
the
thought
sound
you were
is
gonna
that
die
loud.
from just sitting there on the launch pad taking a picture? No, that rocket will die too from the sound. Sound's
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so the plume looks great. All that stuff looks good. So I know that the next time. I mean, my settings weren't great. I did have to bump up the exposure on this. It wasn't bright enough or whatever. So I have some things that I can apply to the next attempt, because my camera fired, and that is the moral of the story. The camera fired, and the other moral is, I don't know if you've picked up on how I got to where I was able to do this, but I hope you learned something from that. That it's baby steps. Don't necessarily like focus 24/7 on that ultimate goal, but make those little steps along the way, and just take opportunities to do the thing, whatever the thing is. Do it. Don't be like, oh well, I'm not very good at it, so why would I try? You'll never be good at it if you don't do it. I promise you, you'll never get good at something unless you start doing it. And when you start doing it, you're going to be bad at it. You will be bad at it.
Stop it. I'm not playing Rocket League. I don't care what you say. Fuck it.
What he's trying to say is drive to your dreams. But you got to get in the car first, baby.
So are you going to get another chance to do this, Steve?
I think so. I was talking to some of the other photographers, and the impression that I got is that, like, once you've been approved, you can...
Once you get in and don't do anything crazy.
Yeah. You don't show up nude.
Yeah.
And you got to keep your nose clean because they do background checks. But the catch is SpaceX does their own media approvals for most missions. Except for NASA-specific missions. So cargo to the space station, that'll have to be a NASA-approved thing. So that it may be a while for that, but I'm still going to try. But they're a little more stringent. And then to be able to photograph Delta IV and Atlas V, which are both ULA, United Launch Alliance, you have to go through the Air Force. And I have submitted that application. Did that a couple days ago.
Checks in the mail, baby.
So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully I can get in. But I mean, you guys, it's no secret I'm a SpaceX fanboy. So the fact that I could do this for SpaceX, I'm happy. That is satisfaction right there. That I could at least do it for Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavies, as long as it's just your normal mission. That's not like NASA specific.
Guys, I think he's crying right now.
I think I do. I think it's so too.
I think I see that.
Man is ejaculated in
The
his
mist,
pants.
the mist in his eyes.
It's
It was
getting
just like
misty.
the mist that was in his camera lens.
It's been a
See it
long run.
Okay, yeah, real quick, Bekah, let's do a couple rounds of this game just to close it all out. Let's
Bekah, game time, go.
Wow,
We'll-
we've been going that long?
Yeah, it's been
A long one.
a show.
But it was good.
Once
but
again,
you have more interesting shit than we have.
you
to
tell
talk
kids about living their dreams. That's important. I'll rant about burning the flag next week. I'll keep pushing
Yeah.
it
We'll have
back.
plenty of time for that.
I'll
Well,
rant
next
about-
week's going to be Becca's intro to the living on the beach, babe.
I'm gonna be so tan and so drunk next Friday.
You'll be a perfect Florida girl.
Yeah.
The swamp is taking you over.
So we're gonna play a game. It's called 5 Seconds. You're gonna have 5 seconds each of you. I'm gonna do it individually, where you have to answer the question that I give you in 5 seconds, and it's always gonna be a list of some kind.
All right.
So we will start with Brad.
God damn it! I knew this was going to happen.
All right, you have 5 seconds, and I'm gonna play the little music into my microphone. Tell me if it's too loud, but it'll help you know when.
I only have 5 seconds. Somebody else do that.
No, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it. Okay, so you have 5 seconds to name 3 songs by Madonna.
Virgin, Believer.
Okay, that was wrong.
That was wrong.
Strike a pose.
I may have accepted just Virgin.
Like a
But
virgin.
Believer is not a song, I don't think.
Like, and going forward,
No, that's a song by the Beach Boys.
Only 1,000 songs named Believer.
That's why I said it. because
Yeah,
it might have counted.
Good. Yeah.
I had 5 seconds. What were you gonna fucking say?
Like a Virgin would be the only one I would name.
Yeah, I'd have said that in Lucky something, Lucky Star.
I'm
That'd be
still
it.
trying to think of Madonna songs.
okay. From going forward, I'm gonna need you guys to try and be as thorough as possible. So
In
instead
5
of
seconds.
In 5 seconds.
That gives you roughly.
I play loose and fast with the rules, and Becca's tightening it up. I get it.
What
I
is it? Like
appreciate
you get like 1.66 seconds per answer. or something like that.
I mean,
Yeah,
All right.
that sounds about right.
I've made it through several of these rounds myself.
Fine, brag about
She's
it.
saying-
La-dee-da.
She's
Next
saying
person,
try
go.
harder. Try harder.
Try
That's
and
why they
beat
call me the
Bekah.
Game Master.
You're the game master, baby.
All right, Dave, this one, you're going to love it.
All right.
You have 5 seconds to name 3 movies with Sharon Stone.
Instinct, Fatal Instinct. That's it.
Okay,
That's all I
I'm pretty
got.
sure it's Basic Instinct.
Oh,
Is it
that's
not?
it.
Basic.
Yeah.
And
That's
Sliver.
it. Fatal Instinct is a movie, but
He
it
said
does
the
not
word
Running
have Sharon
Man.
instinct.
Stone
I
in
think it should count.
Running Man.
You could have done Basic Instinct 2.
Catwoman.
Fuck it, it's all 5 seconds later. You've had time to think about it. That's
So
not
long.
fucking fair.
I mean, it's
Well,
such a
I
short.
only
amount
I'm
of
on your
time.
side, Dave. Once you play this game,
I didn't even get one, technically.
you said
Okay.
instinct. You got one. In
Uh,
my heart.
the
that
one
was
where
like-
she shows her pussy. That one.
You got
That
one in
one.
my heart because that's the one we all remember.
All right, Nathan, now it's your turn to see that it's not as easy as it sounds. You have 5 seconds to name 3 plants that start with S.
Sequoia. Sasquatch.
I would have said stevia.
Sequoia Sasquatch. That's the name of the podcast.
Plant.
Salvia.
Is that one?
Salvia.
One point or
Kids, stay
two?
away from it.
Or
Trust
3?
me, it's not good.
I just said
Oh.
sumac. I just said sumac.
So there's a tip in between rounds here for the person playing the game. The tip is to win, play with your dumb friends.
Well, I guess we're all winners here.
All right, Patrick, it's
Yeah.
your turn. You have 5 seconds to name 3 things that made your parents angry.
Oh, drugs, alcohol, smoking.
All right.
You could have said drugs, alcohol, and
An easy
firearms,
one.
and probably got it. Yeah, that's
Come
bullshit.
on.
That was good. Good job,
Make
Patrick.
your parents angry. Drugs, alcohol, and something
All right.
I'm not gonna say.
So
I'm glad
means
that
Patrick-
wasn't for me. My well, I'm going to say it anyway. My response would have been my sister.
Your sister, my fraternal sister, my real sister.
Okay, so Patrick so far is the only person on the board.
Yeah.
Good point. All right, Steve-O, you have 5 seconds
Okay.
to name 3 characters from Winnie the Pooh.
Piglet, Tigger, Eeyore, Owl.
Damn,
Damn.
you get a 4th one.
Bitches. I watched
This bullshit got way easier.
I watched the what was the new movie that came out?
Oh,
I think it was
Christopher Robin.
yeah, I watched
Yeah.
that not that long ago. I mean, it's still
Oh.
a
Did you-
children's movie, but it was
Did
pretty
you
good.
cry again when you watched it?
Yeah.
No.
It's been a long run.
Okay, so I guess
Oh,
it's
sorry, I
only
remember.
fair that I take a turn, and there's no answers or anything. It's just here's the question. I have to do it. So,
Pick a new
Becca.
card. Pick a card and flip it real quick.
Okay, well, it's got to go through the timer. Hold on.
I'm not gonna wait 5 seconds.
I have to. Okay, here we go. Reveal card. I have 5 seconds to name 3 types of hot beverage: coffee, tea, bouillon. That's a hot beverage.
Bouillon.
Booyah!
Get out of here.
Fuck
Get
you,
outta
because
here.
technically that does count.
Yeah, that's what I used to drink when I was sick. My mom would make me a little Garfield mug full of chicken bouillon.
No.
Fucking just boil up some water and
No.
throw a cube in there. What the
Yeah,
fuck is this?
It's yeah, that's
I'm
exactly
not
what
walking
it is.
into a cafe and ordering a bouillon cube.
Well, that's how they make it, Nathan. I'll
Have you-
take a cup of
Not
your finest
happening.
bouillon
Have you
and
ever
twirl
been
on my
to-
mustache.
You ever been to a savory drink cafe?
Yeah. I call bouillon on that.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, do you want to do one more round since it's so
Yeah.
quick? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right,
this is
Brad.
a good game.
you have a chance to redeem
Oh,
yourself.
Fuck.
5 seconds. Oh my god.
Uh,
I don't even know what this means. Should we skip it if it's
Perfect.
bad?
No, go
okay.
for it.
Okay,
Ask
sorry, Brad.
Yeah.
Okay, you have 5 seconds to name 3 member states of the European Union.
That's easy.
UK, France, Germany, Finland.
Yeah.
I don't know.
UK is no longer.
Yeah.
No,
not
no,
UK.
they
That's
No,
why I
they
said the
are.
4th
Oh,
one.
they still are.
Germany,
Yeah,
France,
that's
and
true.
Finland.
They've
UK
not
has
officially
been-
separated.
They are definitely part of the
Yeah,
union.
they haven't. It hasn't happened yet.
UK has
Brexit has not happened.
they voted 3 years ago, and they're still trying to get out because their leaders won't actually do it.
But
I heard a good comparison of how to describe Brexit by a Spice Girl lyrics, and it's Britain plays the part of "I tell you what I want, what I really, really want." The European Union plays the part of, "Well, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Well, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna what?
Yeah, the problem is not even the European Union. It's the politicians in the UK that are so spineless and want to actually stay in the European Union, and they are refusing to do
I
it.
thought that
It's
I
a
had read,
not
or
great move.
It could have been fake news, but I thought that I had read that like a lot of people didn't go vote because they thought it was silly and it was never going to pass. And then once it did pass, then a bunch of people were like, "No, we don't want this." And then the polls show that most
Doesn't
people,
matter.
They woke.
I
they
know,
got woke, son.
but they wanted a revote, is what they wanted.
Well, yeah, I'm sure everybody wants a revote when the election goes the way they don't want.
Right, but you know, it makes you wonder. Like,
well, fuck, we did it 3 fucking
It
but
doesn't-
times.
that's a big.
They
That's a big deal, though. That's bigger
every
than
fucking election.
who
I
you
can't-
elect as president. It's
I
bigger
can't-
than that.
I don't.
If
Okay,
did
they had an
vote, they
open referendum.
voted it for
They had
it.
an open referendum. Everybody of legal voting age and whatever could vote.
Mhm.
It does not fucking matter. You can't, if Trump's elected
Yeah, you don't get.
and
to call
you
a
go, well,
revote.
it's a really big deal. I should have voted. Now I'm pissed. I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah,
well,
Try
remember
again
that
in
next
4
time you get to vote. That's
Try
the
again in
American
4
way.
years. You
It
don't
re-
just get to
You got
say
4 years to
no,
think about it, you dummy.
No,
It
we
reminds
refuse. We're
me
gonna
of
do it over.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when they said, "You can't just come here and destroy this planet." And they go, "Well, these plans have existed so far away at the basement in some other cabinet." I mean,
Yeah.
that's not what this was. I mean,
Right.
you go, "Wait a minute, if I'd have known it was important, I would have voted." No.
You're right. You're right. I definitely am not like disagreeing with that, but I thought that there was some possibility they were going to do a revote on that or something.
There were politicians and people that were
People
trying to
drove for it
demand
and people didn't.
They were trying to have a revote.
How did we get here?
If you can have revote, if you can just
It was-
revote when you feel like it, then there's no point in even having a vote because now we're just in an endless regression of people going, "I demand a revote."
That's true.
And
That's
he-
That's a
true.
good
No,
fucking
I
point. I
demand a
never thought
revote.
about that
If,
before.
if nothing else, it'll teach you to fucking vote.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you might get. You can't. It's just silly. It's just silly. Silly.
Becca, more questions.
Silly Sally,
No!
shilly shally.
I win.
Yeah, I thought we were playing a game.
Well,
Right.
you're the one that asked the
I
European
won
Union.
my answer. I
you-
got 3 for 3.
Okay, you are on the board.
Germany, France, and Finland. Look them up. They're parts of the European Union.
Okay, I believe it. I'm not going to look it up.
Now!
Dave, you have 5 seconds to name 3 insurance companies.
State Farm, Farm Bureau, Allstate.
He did it.
Yay!
That was like connected too. State Farm, Farm Bureau, and then what was the last one?
Allstate.
Allstate.
Whatever happened
Yeah.
to your soundboard there, Dave? You could have been
Playing
don't
sure.
have
fart
it
noise
anymore.
is what
It's in
Steve-O's
Nathan's
trying to
car,
say.
I think.
Oh,
It is in the trunk of my car.
But if you listen carefully, you can hear it from his trunk.
All right, so we are all on the board now except for Nathan. Here is your chance, Nathan. You have 5 seconds to name 3 musical instruments.
Flute, trombone, trumpet. I almost like.
That was a close one.
I was.
With time to spare, no.
It's
get
like
outta
my
here.
brain was trying to think of this one, and then I'm like, no, wait a minute. I just need to pick another one because I can't pull up that word right now.
All right.
Jesus.
So, Patrick, you have 5 seconds to name 3 jewelry stores.
Kay's, Marks and Morgan, Helzberg's.
what was that last one?
Ellsberg.
Hellsberg.
I don't want to admit it, but I'm actually impressed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I am too. I couldn't have done
That
it.
I could
I
have.
thought for sure you'd hear Jared in there.
Or K's.
Fuck
Wait,
Jared.
you said K's, didn't you?
Patrick, have you been ring shopping?
Begins with K's.
He'll never tell.
Okay, so Patrick has 2 points now. He's in the lead
That's
again.
bullshit.
Steve-O.
It's whatever. It's your turn now. Prove it.
All right.
I thought I had 3 points.
No,
Oh,
No,
you
I
only
give
done
you
two
I give you
questions.
imaginary points. I give you points
you
for
only
my
get
heart.
1 point for answering all 3. I see.
Yeah. Okay.
Just either pass or fail.
You got the points in my
You know,
heart, baby.
we probably should have done it that way, where I just gave you 1 point per answer that you could choke out, because then we could have had a clear winner. But we'll just wing it. Steve-O, you have 5 seconds to name 3 words you would use to say goodbye.
See ya. Peace. Deuces.
Yep.
Nice.
Time to spare.
Nice. Okay, Patrick, your lead is now tied with Steve-O.
Yeah.
And I actually have a pretty decent tiebreaker question if we do end up this way. Okay.
Let's do another round.
Well,
Yeah.
another round? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I
just
have to do mine, and I don't have a card yet. I'm about to reveal it. I have 5 seconds to name 3 sports clothing brands: Nike, Adidas, JanSport.
I don't know about that.
Technically,
say it
you
with a
said
question.
Jan Sport, not Jam Sport.
JanSport is what I said.
No.
If you say it with a question mark, is that considered an answer or a question?
I don't think there's a question mark in there.
Oh, that's
The rules are not that constricted on this game.
Just
No,
make just
I think JanSport is a sports
it
clothing.
Yeah.
is. It is. But
just giving
what
it a
I'm
hard
wondering
time.
is how
Biggest thing
how
is-
long do you have to know what it is that you have to think about?
Me personally,
Yeah, you.
yeah, you.
I flipped the card
Just
and
pops
read
up
it immediately.
immediately.
Okay.
I didn't have any pre.
He's basically doubting your integrity.
Flip your
I'm not
camera
doubting it.
around
I-
and take a picture of the card from upside down and then send it to us. Send it to
Questioning
one of
is
us.
not always
No.
doubting.
Let's just
We'll
play.
ask. Yeah, you're right. Let's just fucking play. It's meant to be a fast game, and we'll just make it all. Let's go.
And if we're just doing 3 rounds, is that how it is? Because,
Yeah, ready to
3
go.
rounds and then
Ready to go.
tiebreaker if we need
There you
it.
go. Yeah.
Okay.
There you
All right, Brad. Name 3 things you buy in parts.
go. Car things, Legos, and fucking
Oh,
stuff to make
last
cheese.
time.
Oh
Fucking-
man, you could have just
Alright.
named like 3 car parts:
So that
Things
is
for cars. Oh yeah.
alternator,
things-
battery,
yeah.
flux capacitor.
Brakes.
No, that wouldn't count either.
wheels, chassis.
It wouldn't.
that means Brad is officially out of the game.
Whatever.
Wah wah.
You try to make nacho cheese yourself your first time. Good luck. Try and
I have
not
no
Google
doubt.
that.
But
No
you'll
doubt,
never
Brad.
be good at making nacho cheese unless you start
Don't
making
start.
nacho cheese.
Oh, I can make some.
Oh
nacho
man. I
The
mean,
first
I make
pancake
some okay
is
cheese.
always
Ask Devo.
the worst pancake.
That's
It's
not
some
always
good
true.
ass cheese, y'all.
I
Okay.
put the herbs and spices in it. I'm the Colonel, baby.
Dave, you have 5 seconds to name this. This is actually a pretty good one for you. Name 3 types of aircrafts.
Bombers, fighters, and refuelers.
Ooh,
What was that last one?
He
refuel.
said
Refuelers.
refuelers.
Okay.
He started it.
I thought it
Um,
was going to be more specific. Like
I
I
was
was
thinking
waiting for
like-
him to just say
like
jets.
F-
Delta. I don't know.
like F-13, F-14,
like
F-15.
Boeing 47.
Yeah,
Honestly, yeah, you could have done that. Those are
they're all
Oh.
real planes, right? 13, 14, and 15 with the F.
I still listed 3
Probably.
types of aircraft.
Yeah, I'm giving it to you,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
Dave, you deserve it.
now that we're in a 3rd round and everybody that's still in has 2 points each, I'm going to take away a point if you don't do it. And so hopefully that'll get us a clear.
Game
a clear
Master
winner.
has spoken.
Yep.
So
Okay.
if you lose, he's taking away a point.
Mhm. All right, Nathan, you have 5 seconds to name 3 people you wouldn't want to ride in an elevator with.
Hillary Clinton. I could just go politics. Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi.
You
But you didn't. You could
I
have
got it.
literally
What was the
said
last
anybody, and we could have believed you.
I got
That's not
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, it
in
was.
there.
I
On, it
heard
was.
that.
It was on the bell. I mean,
I just
I
didn't want
heard
to
it.
sound like I was Republican because I'm not. I just They were
Maybe
just-
that's the true nature of this game.
maybe it just reveals your inner being.
yeah.
What kind of people do you not want to see?
what's the Bible quote again? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks.
That's right.
That's
And the
right.
real name of this game is
That's
your
what you
5
say when
second-
kids say dumb shit.
It's your 5-second ideology.
5 second scruples is what this is.
Yeah.
So are we
There you
giving
go.
him a point for that one?
hmm
Yeah.
Is that my British voice? Did I do that again?
Yeah. No.
Okay, Nathan, you're getting a point for it.
Thanks.
Patrick,
Yeah.
you have 5 seconds to
Okay.
name 3 types of office supplies.
Staples, paper, pens.
You got it. Good job, Patrick.
He's a whiz.
Good
y'all.
job, Patrick.
Wait, staples and paper
Paper and pins.
And
Pa- pa-
Those are not the same thing.
Could have fucking said chairs, desks, monitors, computers. He could have
But
said
he got
anything.
3, so why would
He got 3. No, he's a winner. You heard me clap.
Okay, so that means Patrick is once again in the lead, and it's up to me and Steve-O to catch him. Steve-O, you have 5 seconds to name 3 chess pieces.
Knight, pawn, king, queen, rook.
All of them. He got all of them.
He's murdering out there. He's
Okay.
a wrecking machine.
Watch me not read this until I do it. You ready?
Yep.
Oh, there's an ad. Hold on. There's an ad. I have to push the X. Okay. Here's the reveal card button. Okay. Name 3 countries in the Northern Hemisphere. Oh, America, Canada, Greenland.
Let's count.
That's
Do
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Does that America count? It's
It
United
kinda
States. It's the United
does.
States of America.
What
Yeah,
do you
does
call
Greenland
it?
count when you're
But-
talking about Madonna
What
songs?
do you call it, huh?
I mean,
All right,
and
so-
I know is Greenland really a country? They don't have a government.
Oh, you know
What's-
that's a good question.
It's not a continent though.
Does Greenland have a government?
It's a
That's
frozen
a
wasteland.
question I never thought I would have. Yeah, they named it Greenland and Iceland opposite to keep people from going there.
You know what? It's fine.
Steve's asking Siri right now.
It's
Greenland. Wait, Wikipedia says Greenland is an autonomous country of the Kingdom of Denmark.
Oh.
It counts.
It counts.
Fine. Well, it
Got
doesn't
a
matter.
flag.
It doesn't matter anyway because I'm going to ask a tiebreaker question to the 2 leaders, Patrick and Steve-O. I was in a 90s trivia contest last night, and our team came in 2nd place, and we were tied for 2nd place with somebody. And I'm going to ask you the tiebreaker question, and
We gotta answer this at the same time.
Is this whoever
Wow.
answers it first thing kind of thing?
yeah,
Or
Okay.
more correct.
okay. It is 2019, right? It's 2019. So there are a total of 4 movies in 2019 that are either going to be in theaters or have been in theaters in 2019 that are either sequels or remakes of movies that came out in 92 or 94. Name at least one of them.
Wait,
Lion King.
Fuck you. He's
What did you say,
done.
Steve-O?
You're done,
I said what?
Steve-O.
that's what I
Okay.
said.
So Patrick,
He started saying 2019 and
Patrick
90s
wins.
trivia. I was like Blade Runner.
I don't think I could have. I would have had to definitely think longer than that. Is it right? Did it come out in '93 or something? What?
It came
In
out in the
94.
90s and it's coming out again, man. I've heard
Well,
of it. It's
we had
real.
to name 4 of them, and we did. We got it. It was awesome.
It's
It was
still
Lion
locked in trivia.
King, Toy
Got it.
Story.
Toy
Men
Story
in
came
Black.
out in what year?
Well, it
90s,
might,
90s
maybe we wrote Toy Story also, but it was Men in Black, Child's Play, Lion King, and Aladdin. That's what it was. Because Toy Story.
Child's Play came out in the 90s?
Mhm.
What?
Oh yeah, definitely in
Yeah,
90s.
that's
But
old.
just came out in the 90s in general.
No, it was 92 or 94. So Toy Story was not one of them. We just wrote that one down too.
Men in Black came out in '94.
Or 92. I don't know. One of those 2
It
years.
had to be
Oh,
94.
shit. One of those 2 years.
Man,
oh,
that
my
is-
God.
You want to know why we didn't get first place in this contest? Let me ask you this question and see if any fucking one of you know the answer to this. Okay, who won the
That's how I
19
want to be talked to in trivia.
Who won the 1992 World Series?
No one.
Fuck you, Dave.
Oh,
Fuck
Dave.
you.
Dave.
I bet you know what? You know what? I bet he fucking talked to Will today. Will was on my team. He probably already heard that question.
I answered it correctly to him too, and you can verify that.
Oh,
How'd you
wow.
fucking know that? And I went, there was a strike.
I remember there being a strike, but I'm not sure I would have pulled that out of my ass.
He went, how did you know?
We did
I
the
said,
90s trivia, and they took Man in Black as 1994.
492.
Yeah, I don't think it was 94. Thank
I would've
you.
thought
for
like
It
checking.
came out in
98.
1997.
Nice,
Fake
nice,
news. Fake news.
Fake
Fake
news.
news.
Where's your
Put the
fake
hat
news
on.
at? Yeah.
Well, we won anyway, so fucking who cares?
Came in second.
We won second place anyway.
You're not first, you're last.
I'm just glad you decided
Yeah.
to put it on top of your headphones.
Yeah, thank God, Patrick.
It
looks
only
great.
makes sense for a fake news hat.
People that come in second place are only the first ones to say congratulations to the first
Patrick
place.
has a great webcam angle. He could have a full hat on top of his headphones and still
He could
stay
have
in the
it
frame.
sitting on top of his head
Bro,
like a papal
Not like this.
would wear it. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. That's it.
All
that's
right.
it.
Follow your dreams. Sorry.
Yeah.
Follow your dreams, Brad.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. Go ahead, finish that.
No, follow your dreams and call on your dreams at 865-316-6955.
All right, Bekah.
I have to point out that this is week 2 that we didn't listen to those voicemails. But
Steve-O had some shit going on. If
You
they
can
listen,
start
they'll
getting, we'll
realize
start
it.
getting him at the top of the show then.
we're
Yeah,
gonna
we
have
should probably
to
start
go
doing
week
that.
3.
Yeah.
Put a pin in it.
People would
We'll
like
come back
that anyway. They,
next
people
week.
like to hear themselves on shows, and yeah, we should.
And
say
the
that.
benefit is they'll probably forget what they even said in the voicemail. So when they hear it,
They'll
it'll
be
be
like, "Oh,
That's my
Yeah.
voice. I said those things.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how I feel when I read Snapchats. in the
Hey,
morning.
and
I'm just
give us a follow on Twitter. We're still working on being more active. We have been a little more active. Underscore verbal assault underscore.
Like and subscribe to us on iTunes or however you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
And support us on Patreon too at patreon.com/verbal assault.
And if you are listening to the audio, but you think it'd be cool to check out the video, we record this live on Friday nights around 10:30 or 11 at mixer.com.
Eastern Standard
Eastern, yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah. Eastern
or daylight
Eastern
if you're
daylight,
nasty.
yeah. Mixer.com/verbal assault podcast. That's us right there.
And it's also reposted on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
Verbal
true, yeah.
Podcast on YouTube. Check it out.
Deuces.
Wait,
Wait,
What the fuck are you doing
That's
right
a-
now?
Are we gonna have
sir?
to revoke his?
Whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
wait,
whoa,
wait,
whoa,
wait,
whoa! That's a 2 weeks Deuces revocal right there. If
Dave-
I've ever seen one.
Dave,
It's-
Red card. Red card.
Dave,
Hey,
you
If
premature.
there is silence over and over again and nobody's on it, then we end it.
I'm looking
That
at
was a
Bekah.
dramatic pause before Bekah read her poem.
Bekah knows what's up.
Yeah. Dave just premature educiated.
Oh my goodness! Get that man a towel.
it's so. You know what? I can't do this anymore. I'm moving away from you. I can't be. Dave, you hurt
I
my
did.
feelings so much. I'm just gonna hightail it to Florida.
Prove it.
I'll prove it. Okay, so
Whatever.
sorry to the people whose voicemails didn't get heard, but since you didn't get to hear your own voices, let me console you with a little bit more of my voice.
What a sell.
This is called Gather the Excess. Trapped in glass, nothing could fall on us without just enough time to see a future, a crash, a fresh start. To make it work, my contribution will be the future self I know I could be. It's not an easy thing to do, but harder is more satisfying. And as long as you can set your threshold, you can destroy your cage. You'll be ready.
Perfect inspirational poem for an inspirational podcast. Thank you, everyone.
I'm so goddamn inspired right now.
Yeah,
It's
thank you guys. Thank you to Haywood Banks for our theme song. And that's been a show.
Thank you to Show Enough for just being you.
Yes, thank you.
If somehow you
Callback
accidentally,
joke.
somehow we
Listen
accidentally
to the
listen to the
podcast, you'll
show.
figure it
Yeah.
out.
Somebody say deuces.
Deuces. Didn't feel right, Dave. It just had to be done.
No, it's not. It's not over.
Oh god damn.
Deuces.
I meant some.